Hello and welcome back to Legends of Ellaria Early Access with me, Barden. I'm very excited to be back here. We're on version 0.5.40.5, and the major thing that's happened since the last time that we saw each other is that first person mode has been put into the game. So we press F, we're now in first person mode. So isn't that cool? So the guys have added that in. They did have some issues with it when they put it in first, but most of those issues have been solved. I think mouse smoothing was one of the things that they had to take out of the game because it wasn't working that well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're just going to see if we can get ourselves into a bit of trouble. And just see how first person mode works. So also the guys put a new kinetic system in for the NPCs, so the NPCs move more naturally. So hopefully we're going to be able to notice that during fights and when people are just working around town. Well, that guy just jumped off there. Fair play to you, buddy. Guess that's a new path. But that's something I'd like to see in the future, is kind of some kind of smoothing between levels so that we don't end up with stuff like that. I don't mind stuff like that. It's just that if you get something like that, then there has to be, you know, some kind of, like, if that was the case, it went like that, then there should be some kind of, maybe a path. There should be a path up here that people can come up, and then that would be the path that the NPCs would use. Like he's trying to do it, but he's getting a bit stuck. But just so that things look like, you know, like this just looks a bit weird. You know, with the wall on top, it doesn't look that bad, but this bit over here just looks a bit weird, because if you look at the rest of the places, they look more natural. This looks too squared off. But then if it does have a bit of wall on it, then it can look okay. It looks like maybe it's supposed to be that way. It's all about trying to get it to look, you know, look like basically the people did it rather than the game did it, if that makes any sense. The guys also said that they're working on the RPG for, like, the RPG elements, RPG leveling for the next major update. So that's going to be coming hopefully soonish. And we're going to get our run on here and see how first person works with that. That's interesting. Okay, so when I stop, we don't get the kind of the glare of the sun. I never noticed that before, actually. That's just a nice detail in the game. We don't get like the, I guess it's like a motion blur or something that we get when we're moving. So let's see if we can find somewhere to get ourselves into a bit of trouble. One thing I'm really looking forward to, oh, our buddy is getting into a bit of trouble. One thing I'm really looking forward to is when the game world is expanded. Hello. There we go. Don't say I never did anything for you, buddy. But we should loot her as well. Okay, we'll take your money. You can keep the rest of your crap, though. We have enough crap of our own at this stage. Let's just keep heading on into the wilderness. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to the point when the game world is a lot bigger. So, like, for me, you know, I love exploring. It's one of the reasons why I played Sunless Sea for so long, and it's one of the reasons behind some of the other games that I play as well, is that exploration is just, it just feels great because we kind of live in a time when there isn't all that much exploration that you can actually do anymore. You know, like our, oh wow, this is fun. So we have, our guy's dead, unfortunately, but we had a goblin, a bandit, and then our guy all fighting each other. That's cool. I like that the different factions fight against each other. But yeah, the way things are now, like in the real world, is that there aren't that many kind of undiscovered or mysterious places left anymore. Oh, who's hitting me? Who said you could attack me, lady? I know that sounds like a goblin. It could be, it might be someone else as well. Let's take your cash, so thank you for that. Yeah, this a bit weird being able to see through our body. So obviously, first person view hasn't been perfected yet. You definitely should not be able to see through. Like, it basically looks like our body is hollow. But then our legs are in the wrong place if that's our body that we're looking through. We'll take some apples. We like apples. And do you have any apples for us? Yes, you do. Thank you. Thank you for your apple contribution. Okay. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to a time when I can go exploring more. And then having things in the world to kind of to make you want to explore. That's something that the likes of Skyrim did very well, was that there were all these caves and things, and you went through them, you know, you could either run into bandits, or you could find maybe a rare piece of equipment, or you could just find some story that you can't find elsewhere. I think that would be really cool to have in this game as well, where, you know, things like books and special weapons and those kind of things, you'd be rewarded for kind of going off the beaten track. You know, that's the kind of thing that keeps the game world alive, because otherwise what'll happen is people will just want some kind of fast travel system, like which we do have in the game. We have like the portals, but what I mean is that people would only use that to go anywhere, so they'd never travel in between places, and they'd miss out. You know, they wouldn't feel like they're missing anything, because all of the story or all of the main, you know, things that you can get would be in the main places, and then there would be no reason to explore the world, which I would find a bit sad, because, you know, if you have this world that, you know, someone has lovingly crafted, then there should be a reason to explore it, you know. And, you know, discovering new, like things like discovering new places and finding kind of rare items, or just discovering lore about the world, would be a great way to offer that to the player, and then the player can either take or leave it. But you know, I wouldn't want a situation where players feel like they're forced to explore when they don't want to, because those kind of things don't work. Because then if you're forcing the player to do something that they don't want to do, then, you know, you're not going to have happy players for very long. But if it's a case of it's optional, and if the player does it, then there's a reward that can give them maybe some kind of benefit, whether that's, you know, as I said, a reward in terms of gear, or if it's a reward in terms of like just discovering more about the world, more about the lore, then, you know, I'm all for that kind of thing. Even like extra resources, or, being able to get extra points. Oh wow, look, this is what I'm talking about. I want to explore. I want to see what's this way. I want to see. Maybe we can use this and get into the cave. No, it's blocked from the other side. Okay. So yeah, I want to go in that cave and explore. I don't want to be hemmed in anymore. And I'm sure that the guys are working on... Oh, hi there. Are working on expanding the world. Hello. Yeah, let me kill you. And you. Oh, just lost me. Well, luckily, I can kill a bunch of you. Seeing our body kind of pop in and out of the screen is kind of it's a bit distracting. Because I never notice, like, in fairness, I don't get into that many sword fights these days. Like, you know, not since my younger days when sword fighting was a daily occurrence for me. But now that I'm older, like, you know, and I don't sword fight anymore, maybe I just don't notice it anymore. But, you know, I wouldn't expect when I'm doing stuff for my body to come into my line of sight in such a way that it's actually kind of distracting or surprising. And having this thing popping in and out of the screen underneath me here is a bit distracting. Maybe it's just because I'm looking, maybe I shouldn't keep my chin down. Maybe that's what that is. That's like chin down, yeah. I wouldn't fight like that either. I'd keep my head up. But it's not like I'm purposely moving my view down that way. It's just that I'm trying to aim my sword, which then corresponds with, like there, I didn't change my view at all, but still the chest came popping out. So, I don't know, it depends on what other players think. Like, I'm not the be-all and end-all of how the game should be, but maybe it's something that the guys could look into. Maybe making that feel more natural. Because generally, you know, when we're doing things, we're not all that aware, certainly visually, we're not all that aware of our body. Like, we can, like, now that I'm sitting here playing this, I can kind of, in my periphery, I can see my, you know, you can see my hand on the mouse, and I can see my arm reaching towards the keyboard and stuff, but, you know, it's not there in my face, as it were. It's not like, it's not distracting. It's just now that, because I'm thinking about it being there, I'm noticing it, but generally I wouldn't notice it. And then my actual torso, you know, I can't actually see it unless I decide to look at it. So, and I feel like that would be the way as well, or should be the way in the game too, is that, you know, your torso really shouldn't come into view. I'd more expect my arm to come into view like that. Yeah, like that's fair enough. But not my torso to be in view all the time. So this is another barrier. I don't know, some people may not have seen this, but I think this is really cool. Unfortunately, we can't swim. Hopefully we can swim in the future though. But basically, it's just because the game world doesn't extend over there right now. So we can't go that way. But I like the kind of I like the water in the game, that, you know, it's always got some kind of glow to it. Like this color here is the color of the little stream that goes by the, what's it called now? The other village anyway, the village that in the earlier quest that you get to join you, the little river or stream outside there has this kind of color. But then I like that really kind of magical blue over there as well. And now we're getting some rain too. Like, there's a lot of great things about this game. I just wish there was more of the game. you know, and there will be in the future, which is great because the guys are doing a great job, and they're, you know, they're keeping up the momentum. They haven't decided, okay, now we're early access, we can just kind of slack off. No, they're keeping the development going, as you see with first person coming in, and you know, they're already telling us about, okay, this is what we're going to do next. Let's just enjoy being in here with the rain falling down around us. And like it's a great magical world, like, and one thing it's doing as well is it's inspiring me to go back and write up the stuff that I promised the guys, because that's one thing from my point of view. It doesn't matter about anyone else, because no one else is kind of involved, but apart from the chaps at Larkham Studios. But you know, I have all this stuff written, but I haven't typed it up, so I want to type it up and get it over to the guys. I sent them part of a story. I want to send them the rest of that because I've finished that story, and then I've got I think 2 more stories as well that I've written to give them, and then hopefully, you know, I mentioned before, hopefully at some stage they can appear as books in the world, and just kind of they're just kind of teasers on lore. They don't really, you know, they just give you little bits and pieces of lore that the guys have shared with me, or sometimes they, wait, where is the person? Oh, hi there. Right, you can be looted. There is someone else out there. But basically, they fill in maybe gaps in the lore that the guys wanted maybe to be filled in and stuff like that. So, you know, I'd be delighted if those do appear in the game in some form in the future, either whether it's like with a bard in the tavern, or whether it's through books in the game. Either way, I'd be very honored if the guys decided that they were good enough to put in the game. And one thing I'm hoping for in the future as well is kind of customization. You know, we have a tavern in our town, and I'd like to be able to name it, you know, give it a name, and then have that appear as a sign outside, and also, you know, to have kind of, let's pop into this cave, but be able to have like a few options in terms of the sign design and stuff, so that you could, if you have, again, you know, I've mentioned before, I'd like to have multiple of certain buildings. So I wouldn't like to just have one tavern. I'd like to have a few different taverns, and then to have maybe slightly different designs you can choose from, so that the layout is different, and that kind of the theming is slightly different on each one, and then being able to name each one as well. And then, because for me, you know, that building element is important. You know, I don't want, like, some people just think, okay, build a building, it gives you the bonuses, and then happy days, you know, we've got our bonuses, we don't need any more than that. And it maybe provides some quests you can do, but outside that, people, you know, some people don't care all that much. But for me, things like that are important. They're important parts of the game world, and you know, I want my game world to be different than someone else's, and I want a hand in making that difference. So I want to be able to choose. Oh, ouch! I want to be able to choose how I make it different. So placement of buildings obviously is important, but when you have multiple buildings, you can kind of do things a lot easier. So things like, I'd like to say, have districts, and like this district on the outskirts is going to be the kind of the farming district. So we're going to have the cottages with farms and stuff, and then the tavern out there is going to be more rustic. You know, it's going to be rough and ready. It's not going to be all that fancy inside. Probably have like sawdust on the floor and that kind of thing. kind of rickety stools maybe, or not even rickety, just kind of ones that look like they are very functional rather than very ornate. And then in the more well-to-do areas of the town, maybe the merchants' quarters, have one that's kind of very finely done and expensive furniture and that kind of stuff inside, and have that stand out as a different tavern in its own right. And then somewhere kind of like in the military, like where the barracks is, in that kind of area, maybe have something that is somewhere in between the two. So maybe you could have a tavern that has maybe two different areas, like the top floor and the bottom floor, and maybe the bottom floor is where all the regular soldiers drink, and that is a bit rough and ready. But then upstairs they have a kind of a smaller area for the officers, and that's a bit more well-to-do, but not as fine as the merchants, because it's catering mainly towards military guys who don't need all the kind of extra all the extra frills and stuff. Although if you look at kind of for some societies, like the military uniforms for higher ranks can have a lot of frills and stuff on it, but just something that would mark it apart from the merchants. So maybe the merchants could have, like, the theming inside can have a lot of stuff to do with kind of travel and commerce, while for the military it would be more kind of maybe campaign banners and stuff like that. Oh, I think one of them just shot the other one. Can you do it again? Shoot your friend? No? Okay. But so far, first person has been nice and smooth. It's been a good experience so far. Apart from this thing, that's definitely one of the drawbacks, is just looking through your own body. And that's not the only game that does that. Like, I guess it's hard to it's hard to do it and kind of stop the camera from clipping through stuff like that. But hopefully the guys can find a solution to it. Oh, that's some nice gold. Yeah, so as I said, I'd like to basically design my own town, and not just have it as something that's just there because it gives a bonus, or it's just there because it allows us to have a certain number of military or some stuff like that. I want it to actually feel like a world, not feel like a game. Okay, so we're going to come back to this. I'm going to explore a bit further, and we'll come back to there, because I'm pretty sure that I haven't taken that yet. Ow! Don't be shooting at me. What are you doing? Oh, cool. People are fighting. Yeah, I like this. I like that factions are now fighting each other. I'm not sure when it was added to the game, or maybe it's just that they're now. It might have been there all the time, but I have a feeling that now that the factions, it's more likely that they will encounter each other. Because remember when we fought a golem before over by where the undead are, or the main undead are, that the golem and the undead fought each other. So maybe it's just that different groupings of enemies are encountering each other more often in the game, and if that's true, then I'm all for that. I think it's a great decision on the part of the guys. I'd love to find something in these cells as well. It'd be great there's no kind of lockpick or anything stuff in the game. Maybe it's going to be in the future, and it'd be nice to have that there to be able to go into place like that, and maybe like find, maybe, you know, for when you're recruiting, maybe if you're recruiting at the start and it's difficult to get the goal together to recruit the amount of people that you want, maybe you could go to like a prison and liberate the prison, and then the people that you liberate could then join your ranks, and might be a nice way to start to maybe boost your army up a bit. And then also, again, in terms of immersion into the world, I think it would help a lot, because it would then be the case that, like, you know, if those people have names and stuff, then you go, oh yeah, that's John, or that's John Shields, and we rescued him from such and such a prison. And it'd feel kind of, you know, when like, if it's me, they're gonna die. So when they eventually die and we get them killed, then feel sorry, but then think, oh yeah, he was with me since we got him out of prison and stuff. But maybe he feels like his life was more worthwhile after doing that, and stuff like that. You know, I want to feel connected to the world of the game. And there's a lot of stuff that can be done for that, where, like, you know, you feel like it's your town. You know, it's not just the town, it's your town, because you built it in a specific way. They're your people because you've come across them in maybe a different way than other people did. You know, maybe not everybody is going to have a prison close to where they start, or, you know, well, there are no prisons in the game, but it's just an example. But you know, the people that are following you should feel important to you. They shouldn't just feel like kind of numbers. It should be kind of done like as a kind of a cost benefit analysis of, okay, well, I can go and take this village and I'm going to lose this many people, or this many units. You know, I don't like as well that referring to, I know it's only a game again, but I don't like referring to them as units, because it kind of, I was going to say dehumanizes them, but these guys aren't humans, are they? Oh, let's get rid of that, and then let's use the portal. Okay, so this portal isn't unlocked. Okay, that's interesting. So I definitely want to come back here at some stage in the future and use that portal. So let's move on. It's nice though to have another place that we can come into and have a look around. So it's something new other than just being first person. I have to say, I feel more comfortable in first person than in third person, just because when I'm I know in third person there are advantages to gameplay in terms of maybe your field of view and stuff like that, and knowing when enemies are behind you and that kind of thing. But first person just feels more like this is me, even though my character is a lady and stuff. It still feels like, you know, this is me role playing as her rather than this is me playing this character. So I like that. First person really is helping with the immersion and kind of drawing me into the world. So you guys are doing a good job with that. Let's go to the South Passage. Okay, and then we're going to have a quick look around here, and we're going to end the video pretty soon as well. And getting to, you know, I don't like these videos to go on for too long, because I don't script what I talk about. That's probably pretty obvious. I just kind of stream of consciousness, basically open my mouth and see what comes out. But I like to have something to think about at the start of each video, and then just let it go and see where we end up, rather than like overly scripted stuff is great for people who like that, but it's just not my style. I don't want to be scripting everything and not coming across as being genuine or natural. Some people can do it, but I don't feel like it would work with me, not with my style. Because I just like to wind my brain up with a thought at the start and then let it go, and wherever it ends up, it ends up. And if you ask me at the start of the video what would I end up talking about at the end of the video, is probably not what I told you. Right, so let's have a look down here. There is some iron here, and more resources would be a great thing in the game as well. I know for some people they think, oh no, they're just too much to manage and blah blah blah, but I think it would be good. Like stuff like maybe, oh hi there, stuff like linen, or some kind of cloth would be a good commodity. Oh. Okay. Oh, we killed him. Okay. I was about to run for my life. I guess he was too. I will take that, even though we have better rings. And again, it's something I mentioned before, but using that equipment to put into a pool for your soldiers to use would be really cool. Because then it would feel like they're useful. Let's see what this is going to give us. Okay, we gained a new spell. Cool. Did we actually gain a new spell? That's the thing though. Let's open our inventory. Burning Hands we had. Fireball. Pretty sure we had. Frost Ray. Focus Energy. Firebolt. Oh. No, maybe Burning Hands is new. Yeah, because we had these before. But maybe Burning Hands is new. Okay, cool. So let's put that on instead of you. Okay, and then let's give it a go. See what it looks like. Okay, that's good. Let's try again. Okay, so basically a flamethrower coming out of our hands. I would like though for it to have, so it's hard. Let's see if we can look down. We should be able to see our, okay, let's let our mana build back up. What I want to see is, what does a hand actually look like when we do it? Because for me, again, that's an important thing. If we're shooting flame out of our hand, we should have some kind of, like our hands should be wreathed in flame as well when we do stuff like that. So I want to check that out once. Okay, I think we have enough now. So let's look down. Okay, and then let's try it. Yeah, so see the way we can just about see our hand because our body keeps getting in the way. But I'd rather have something on our hand to indicate as well. I know flame kind of a hand is kind of indicative, but I'm just talking about like the aesthetic. Would be nice to have it like that. But flame hands, I think, is going to be fun. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish here at the golem and point myself that way, so that hopefully I remember that I need to go. Maybe next time I won't, but at least now we're going to have something else to explore next time. So there will be another video next week on this, but that's pretty much it for this video. So if you want to check out the game, it's on Steam, it's in early access. I've said it before on my Steam review, it's worth the money right now. Whether the guys do anything else with the game, it's worth the money right now, because you're going to get, in terms of the amount of gameplay you get out of it, you're going to get your money's worth. I feel, at least. Other people may not, but I definitely feel that. The game is stable. The game is fun to play, which obviously is a lot of, is very important with any game. But some games in early access can be not that fun to play, and people are just hoping that it's going to get fun at some stage because they really like the idea. But this game is fun to play as it is. So, either way, you're going to get your money's worth, again, in my opinion. And then on top of that, the guys from Larkin Studios, are basically working hard to make sure that that's not the only thing that you're going to get, that there's going to be more coming in the pipeline in the future. And they're very responsive. If you want to chat with them or wherever, be that on Steam or on the Discord or wherever you want to, the guys will respond to any queries, and they're very happy to receive feedback on the game as well. And then, that's why we had the patch where it was they put the patch out with first person, and then they got some feedback from people saying that, there's this bug and there's that bug because of it, and the mouse smoothing isn't working all that well. So some they fixed and some they took out, like the mouse smoothing, just to make the experience better for the player. So they're doing a lot of good things, and fair play to them for that. But I'm going to end the video here. So as always, if you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, share it with a friend or two, or on your favorite social media, and I really hope to see all of you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe you'll hit the subscribe button there on the right, and check out some other videos here on the left.